right, we are back at the Form Lab in Portland, where it's all about taking the movements that you learn here and then building them into your everyday life. Andrew Blais, always good to see you. He's the co-founder here. What are we doing today?
Today we're going to learn just about sitting and standing properly.
Okay.
It's a pretty basic movement that everyone does a lot throughout their day. And it can be done wrong. So we're gonna try and break those bad habits of doing it wrong.
Okay.
So if you were to just go ahead and pop a squat on the bench there.
Okay.
Just go ahead and
just
sit right down. Yep, just sit right down.
Okay.
Okay,
How'd
and
I
now
do?
go ahead and stand.
Okay.
Okay, you did great.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have you just step to the side real quick.
That means he's gonna show me how to really do it right here.
It's okay. It's okay. So, the important thing, a few times ago, we talked about the hinge and loading up tension into the backside of the legs. You don't want to forget that movement when you're sitting and standing. It's super, super important to still use the backside of the legs to perform the movement. So we're going to start with that hinge. Slight little push back with the hips. Keep the knees bent, and then from there, remember what we talked about with that external pressure. If you can create external pressure, you're gonna activate the glute muscle, and that is gonna be the primary muscle used for sitting and standing.
Okay.
So, start with that hinge, slight outward pressure, and then we're trying to keep those knees relatively back so we can start to feel our tension creeping up into the hamstring and glutes to get seated on the bench. After we're standing, it's that same thing. You're trying to apply that outward pressure, and all you're thinking about is squeezing the muscles in the backside of the leg to push and propel you back into that upright position. So it's very common that people drop the knees forward.
Yep.
That eventually is going to put some stress on the knees. So we're trying to keep those knees healthy and happy.
I was just going to ask you, like, why can't we just sit down the way we want to sit down? But I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, so ultimately, eventually, just like with the picking up objects, you create bad habits.
Yep.
You create the wrong movement pattern, and then you're gonna start to feel that achy little knee creeping up on you eventually. So we're gonna take that knee out of play. You're gonna drop the hips back, add that external pressure, just go ahead and get seated, and then you're standing by contracting through the backside of the legs, and that should be your focus. Anytime there's a hinge and a stand, it should be down here and not here.
Okay.
All right, so on this one,
do it again.
I'm gonna have you do one more.
Okay.
And we're gonna apply a little bit of what we just learned here.
Okay.
So you're gonna start with the hips with that slight little hinge back, the chest falls just slightly.
Yep.
And then as you sit, you're just bringing those knees out to the side, sitting on that bench. And that's common. Because you're unfamiliar with the backside, you're unfamiliar with using your hamstrings and glutes to utilize sitting and standing, you're gonna get that feeling as you sit back of, whoa, I'm off balance and I feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna fall over. Over time, you build strength, you build familiarity with using the right muscles, using that posterior side. So eventually you'll be able to get down into the bottom of your squat and you'll feel comfortable in this position.
Okay.
Okay? So
don't get discouraged.
So don't get discouraged when you feel like you're gonna fall back.
Okay.
Falling back is a good sign that you're trying to get your weight back into the right spots.
Okay.
Okay? So on this one, outward pressure with the knees, and you're thinking about squeezing the glutes and driving right to the top.
There we go. Felt that.
Perfect. And that's something that people can practice at home. You're sitting down quite often throughout your daily life. So just practicing that slight hinge, making sure you're trying to feel the backside of the legs doing all the moving for you.
Yeah, super simple. Super
very,
easy.
very simple.
We can all do
it's
it.
something that we can practice. And it's something that you should practice and try to bring into your everyday life every time you're sitting and standing, really trying to focus on the backside because that's how we create those good habits.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so we'll have all of these tips and tricks, of course, on our website. Thanks so much for doing this with us.
Of course,
again.
thank you guys.
And we'll be right back.